This week we're going to be finishing our Terracotta Warrior or Terracotta Horse project. And I'm going to show you first with the Warrior, but the process is exactly the same for the horse. So first you're going to cut out your Warrior, and our goal is to develop craft today. So make sure you're cutting as neatly as you can, not chomping, but nibbling a little bit at a time, cutting right to the edge of your lines. Remember to turn the paper, not your scissors. And try and get as much details as possible. Okay, so I cut out my Terracotta Warrior, and now we're going to pick a background. For the background paper, I would recommend a neutral color paper. So gray or tan would work great. Remember that neutral colors are the kind of colors that can be natural hair or skin color. So we are going to be adding a shadow, and if you want to have a black paper, you could pick black as well. So I'll show you how to do a shadow on black paper when we do the horse. But on your neutral color paper, first you're going to set your Warrior and decide where you want him to be. It could be on the edge, it could be in the middle. It doesn't always have to be right in the center. I think I'll do it a little bit off center. And we're not going to glue it on yet. We're actually going to add a shadow. I'm going to be using a black oil pastel to do the shadow for my lighter neutral color paper. So the shadows start at the bottom of the object. If the light's coming from this way, the shadow will go the other way where the light's hitting from. Where the light is, it's called the light source. So when you draw a shadow, the first step is to decide where the light source is. So the light source can be a sun or a light bulb, but whatever it is, the light's going to be coming from it, shining down on whatever you're drawing. So if the light source is over here and it's shining on this side, the shadow will come this way. So from the bottom of the feet, you're going to draw some diagonal lines showing where the shadow might be. And then you're going to also trace where the feet start. Remove it, and that's where we're going to be drawing the shadow. So shadows are darker, closer to the thing that is casting the shadow. So it gets lighter away from the Warrior. Getting lighter and lighter. So now if I put this back on here, it's going to look like it has a shadow. But we're going to go one more step further using your finger or a paper towel to rub your shadow. That way the edge is going to be a little bit blurry, and then it's going to look like a realistic shadow. So I'm just rubbing it, and then when I put this back on, it'll look like it's actually a real shadow. And if you're working from home and don't have oil pastel, you could try with crayons or pencils as well. And darkness and lightness in art is called value. So the shadow part has a darker value, and the part that doesn't have shadow is going to have a lighter value. Once you're done with your shadow, you're going to then glue your Warrior down. So you're going to flip it over. I would recommend using both stick glue and bottle glue. The reason is because the paper is wrinkly from staining it last week. If you just use stick glue, it's probably going to fall off. If you use just bottle glue, because bottle glue takes more time to dry, you're going to have to hold it down for a long time. So if you use both, it should stay down a little bit easier. So first with stick glue, I'm just going to add it all over. And then with bottle glue, make sure to open it, shake it, and try a snail trail. That is a thin line around the edge of your paper, and the orange part of the glue should always be touching the paper, not squeezing it from high up. That's how you get a big puddle. Make sure to close it, flip it over, line it up to your shadow, and then press down. Again, the paper is a little bit wrinkly, so you gotta press it down until it's laying flat so that doesn't pop off. Now we're going to add some more designs to the background. And what we're going to add is Chinese characters. And we're going to be writing the Chinese characters for the word Bing Ma Yong, which is Terracotta Warrior. So I'm going to be using black watercolor paint. A lot of times Chinese art has some Chinese characters written on them, and they're done with black ink. But I don't have black ink right now, so I'm going to just use black watercolor paint. If you don't have black watercolor paint, you could just do it with Sharpie or oil pastel or crayon as well. So you're going to get your paintbrush wet, make a puddle in the black. So now I'm going to write the 3 letters that mean Terracotta Warriors in Chinese. Okay, so now I have my design with my Terracotta Warrior with a shadow and Chinese characters for Terracotta Warrior. If you're in Chinese immersion class, also try to write your Chinese name on the artwork too. You can pick which corner you want to put it on. And also if you know some other Chinese characters that are relevant to what we did, you're welcome to do that as well. So this is the end of this project, so make sure you take a picture and send it to me through Artsonia or Canvas. So now for the terracotta horse. Again, the process is exactly the same as the Terracotta Warrior. So if you're comfortable starting your horse or warrior, you can go ahead and get started. But I'm going to review how to do that process with the horse, and also I will show you how to add a shadow to black background paper. So if you want to watch the rest, you can as well. So just to review, first we're going to cut out our horse, working as neatly as you can. Remember to nibble and turn the paper. Develop your craft by cutting as neatly as you can. Okay, I have my terracotta horse cut out now, and I will show you how to add a shadow to a black background. So if you're adding a shadow to a black background, you're going to actually use a light gray or a white for the shadow, which is not a real shadow color. But in art, sometimes we make our own interpretations. And my white is almost gone, so I'm actually going to use light gray. And first, you're going to do the same thing we did with the warrior, where we're going to decide on the light source. Light source is where the light is. So I think my light source is going to be up here again. And the light's going to be shining on the horse, so the shadow will be coming this way. So then, I'm going to draw my shadow shapes again. Trace where the shadow starts, where the hooves are, and then take it off. And then same thing, you're going to make it darker towards the horse and lighter as it goes away. Now you're going to take your finger or a paper towel and then rub it to make it more blurry and natural. And then when you put the horse back on, it's going to look like it has a shadow. So once you have your shadow, you're going to flip it over. Remember to use bottle glue and stick glue for this project because the paper is wrinkly. Make sure to close the glue bottle. Match it up to where you do your shadow. And then press it down. And of course, last but not least, we're going to write Terracotta Warrior in Chinese. So because this is black paper, black watercolor paint would not work. And in our regular watercolor sets, we don't have white. And even if you did have white, usually that white is not opaque enough. That means it's not thick enough to cover the black color. You could try it out, but I would recommend just using a white or light gray oil pastel. And Chinese characters in traditional art usually go vertically. So we're going to line up the letters. way. And there we go. Again, if you want to add your Chinese name, if you're in Chinese immersion, you're welcome to. If you want to try and add some other words inspired by Chinese art or terracotta warriors and empty spaces as extra design, you're welcome to as well. Again, this is the end of this project, so make sure to take a picture and send it to me through Artsonia or Canvas.